Assalamu alaikum students. Today we are going to do another SLOs of turning effect of forces. We have already have two lectures on this topic. Now in today's lecture we are going to discuss center of gravity and couple. What now in this for the center of gravity we are going to define center of gravity of a body in a uniform gravitational field. Define couple as a pair of forces tending to produce rotation, and the third one is explain that the couple has the same moment about all the points. So first is what is center of gravity? By definition, the center of gravity is the single point on an object on where all of its weight is assumed to be located. Now, what is the meaning of that? The center of gravity, that is written as CG of a point of an object, is the point at which the weight is evenly dispersed and all sides are balanced. A human center of gravity can change as it takes a different position, but in many other objects, it is a fixed location. For instance, if we are going to find the center of gravity is this, see that the center of gravity is located at the point at which structure this structure is balanced, and you can see it is balanced on this point. It is not in the middle, but it is balanced in this point where the more of the mass is lying. For the human, you can see the center of gravity is at the center of the human body. This is you can see the red circle now, and from this point you can see this is the weight factor, the weight force of gravity is acting on it. If the person is stable, as long as the center of gravity is just passing from its base, but as the center of gravity is not is at the edge of the base of support, and the person is unstable and he will fall down. So the you can see that we can change the position of our center of gravity to keep us balanced by stretching our arms or by bending our bodies one way or the other. You can see that we can if the person is bending, he can stretch the arms just to balance himself. Similarly, over here, he stretched the arms just to balance himself, and in all as we change our position, the center of gravity also changes. But when the distribution of mass of an object is not constant or the object is not uniform, then the center of gravity shifts to the direction of greater mass. You can see that we are going to locate the center of gravity for the different materials, and we'll see where the center of gravity is located of the uniform object or of the object that have different mass. Mass is not uniform throughout. If the object is symmetrical like a ball or a broom handle, then the center of gravity is exactly in the middle. You can see this is the uh, a uniform rod, or you can say a broom handle. It is a uniform, since it is a uniform shape, its center of gravity is exactly in the middle of that uniform rod. Now, but this, you can see this spoon and this is non-uniform. So the center of gravity, you can see at H as will is shifted to the one side, and where and it shifts to the side where there is a heavy mass, with the center of gravity of the body shifted to the place where there is an heavy mass. In the spoon, you can see that this is the center of gravity of the spoon. If you want to balance the spoon, you can balance over here on your finger, and this is the this side is more massive, so center of gravity from the middle shifted to that place. And even in the broom, it is not in the middle, it shifted to the side where there is more massive. A good example of non-uniform shape is a broom or a spoon. The mass on either side of their center of gravity is not equal. The distribution of this mass must also be allowed for. Okay, now then object will only balance in equilibrium if the point of balance is directly below the center of gravity. You can see this is a uniform rod and this is the center of gravity point. If I want to balance this rod horizontally, I am going to put a wedge on this exactly below the center of gravity, and it will remain balanced and it will not fall down. But if this support is moved to any other side, this rod will fall over because its center of gravity, it is not supported at the center of gravity. Now there are some interesting questions arises, like where is the center of gravity of the donut. You can see that the donut is there is no dough in the middle of the donut, and so where could be the center of gravity of that donut. And the second is, can an object have more than one center of gravity? So for first answer, you can understand by this, the center of gravity may be located where no actual material exists. You can because this is a symmetrical shape, we are going to draw the two diameter line, and where they meet is the center of gravity. So center of gravity may lie inside or outside the body, where though there is no material. It depends on the uh, uh, point where all the weight appears to it. Okay, now, so in the donut, the answer is, yeah, in the center of the hole where there is no material. And can an object have more than one CG? A rigid object have one CG only. Like this, this is a uniform rod. It's it is every its mass is not changing throughout. There is a uniformity, so it is only has one center of gravity. If it object is not rigid, like it is made of clay or putty, and it disordered into different shapes, then the center of gravity may change as its shape does. So the center of gravity point uh, is according to the shape. Even then, but if we are giving the putty or clay one shape, then for that particular shape it has only one center of gravity. Means that for any shape there is only one center of gravity, and the center of gravity point change according to the shape. Now we are going to locate the center of gravity of the some symmetrical objects. Like this is a geometrical shape, this is also a geometrical shape. So the center of gravity of a uniform object is the midpoint at its geometrical center. For instance, if I want to find, this is a rectangular shape, you see this is a cuboid. If I like to find its center, I can draw these two lines, and where these two lines intersect, one middle horizontal line and the middle vertical line, and where they intersect is the center of gravity. These, you can see that the distance from above and below for this rod is equal, and distance from above below above this rod and below this rod is equal, and the where these two are meeting is your center of gravity. Similarly, for a sphere, you can see that the center of gravity lie exactly in the center of the this span, this ball. Okay, for the triangle, if we just going to draw the three medians of the triangle, and the point of intersection of three medians is the center of gravity for the triangle. Now for a cylinder, you can see this is the middle point. For any circle, you can draw two diameter line, and where they intersect is the center of gravity. Center of gravity of a rectangle and a square or any other of a shape like this is exactly um, uh, can be located by drawing the diagonals of that shape. Okay, now how we are going to find the center of gravity of irregularly shaped object? The center of gravity of irregular shaped object can be found it by suspending it from two or more points. So this is a you say there's a thin flat shape. So irregular shape, we can easily find that it can be hanged. A plumb line is hanged from 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, or three different point, and and on each point a line has been drawn where the all these line crosses each other. The point of intersection of all the three lines is the center of gravity of that irregular shape. Now you can see this video and strengthen further the concept of gravity.
Center of gravity. Try to balance a piece of cardboard on your fingertip. What do you observe? We observe that there is only one point on which the cardboard can be balanced. This point, where the cardboard can be balanced, is called the center of gravity of the cardboard. Thus, the center of gravity is the point through which the resultant of the weight of all the particles of the body acts. Let us now determine the center of gravity of an irregularly shaped lamina using a plumb line. Make 3 holes near the edge of the lamina so that the lamina can swing freely when pivoted from each hole. Suspend the lamina from the point P as shown here. Hang a plumb line from the point P and mark the plumbing line P' on the lamina. Repeat the experiment by suspending the lamina from Q and mark the plumbing line QQ'. Now follow the same procedure for the point R. We observe that all the three lines PP', QQ', and RR' intersect at one point. This point where all the three lines meet gives the center of gravity of the lamina. Generally, the center of gravity of geometrically shaped objects lie at the geometric center of the object. View the center of gravity of the objects listed here by clicking on the objects.
So in each case, you have seen that where is the geometrical center of all that geometrical shape object and their center of gravity for the cube. You can visualize now very clearly. It is in the center of that cube. Similarly, the center of the sphere, and since this is, scale is a meter rule is cuboid. So you can see that the center of gravity is at the geometrical center of each and every shape. Wire is a cylinder shape, it is at the center, and you can see the cone where the center of gravity is at the 1/3 of its height from the base. So this is all for the shape, irregular and regular shape objects. Now the next is couple or tog of couple. So the definition, couple of a system of the forces consists of the two parallel forces that are equal in magnitude, oppositely directed, and do not act in a straight line but are separated by perpendicular distance. So you can see this is the Tommy bar and this is the schematic diagram of the couple. You can see that these are the two equal and opposite equal forces are acting and they are parallel to and their direction is also opposite and they are not acting in a straight line. They are uh, separated by this much distance. Similarly, you can see this is the Tommy bar. You have seen that in fixing the tire of the removing or fixing the tire of your car or any other vehicle. This is used to just untie the screws over here, and this is a very good example of a couple. You can see if you are going to untie a screw, you are going to apply force on these two sides, and this is the axis of rotation, and these two are equal and opposite forces are acting on it, but they are not in a straight line like this. They are separated by a distance between them, and they are acting perpendicularly. The schematic diagram of this forces is given and distance is given, and this is the axis of rotation. So this is this we say the couple force is acting on it. And again, you can see that this is the, if you think of a steering wheel, you are applying a force in opposite direction to turn the steering wheel. And we know that this is showing a anti-clockwise rotation. So this is the schematic diagram of free body diagram of this. Two forces F and F1 are acting in the opposite direction. They are parallel, but they are equal in magnitude, and they produce a rotation in this steering wheel. O is the center where of rotation. So and R is the, since this is a think of a steering wheel. So this is a circle. So R is the representing the distance from O to B, and this is the distance from O to A. And in this case of a steering wheel, both these distances are equal. So in mechanics, a couple of forces is a system of two equal and opposite parallel forces, and they operate in the opposite direction. The moment of a couple of forces around the axis, now this is the axis of rotation, is equal to the sum of the moment of each of the force of the couple. Now, couple is made up of two forces, this F1 and F2. Now, moment, if I uh, taking an anti-clockwise direction, so we have learned earlier the anti-clockwise direction is taken with the positive sign. We can see the moment of couple can be found by uh, force multiplied by the momentum, since this is the axis of rotation, and over on this side, for A side, force multiplied by momentum, that is OA. So the moment of couple is equal to moment of force in A plus the moment of force in B. So this is your, we can write it in terms of C is uh, denoting the moment of a couple, uh, and the uh, moment on this one side is equal to force into momentum OA plus force into momentum, that is OB. So if you see that F is equal in magnitude, force, and F value is same, we can take F common, and we are left with AO plus AB. And from this you can say that AO and AB is the addition of OA and AB will give me the whole line AB. So I can simply write the moment of couple as F into AB, or F into D, that is the uh, F into the distance, perpendicular distance between the two forces. So this is what the moment of a couple of force around the axis is equal to product between the magnitude of one force to the distance. F into AB, only one force is taken into the distance. Now we can still, by calculation, we can find that, you can see this is again the same thing. D is the distance between the two equal and opposite forces, and the torque will be represented, yani that is the moment of force is equal to F into D. So we are going to apply this schematic formula. Now in this, we are not going to take axis of rotation exactly in the middle. We have shifted the axis of rotation to one side. Now again, we are going to calculate, earlier you have seen that we have calculated as a torque as a uh, force into distance. So again, we are going to see that what we are going to see that what is the torque now? Total momentum, total couple. On this side, you can say this is the force and this is the axis of rotation. X is the momentum. So F into X plus F into, now this represent distance is represent, this total distance is represented by D. So this distance will be D minus X. So this, the moment arm for this force will be D minus X. So into D minus X, open the bracket, Fx plus Fd minus Fx, this minus Fx and plus Fx get cancelled. We are left with Ft only. So this shows that the moment of couple is independent of the axis of rotation, and it can be found by multiplying only one of the force into the total distance between them. Now, properties. Couple does not produce any translation movement but rotational. Why? Because the up, you can see in the previous example that the upward force balances the downward force. In the couple, these two forces are always equal in magnitude but opposite direction. So their uh, sum must be in this direction is zero. So there is no translation movement in them, but they can only produce the rotational movement. The resultant force of a couple is zero, F minus F, that is equal to zero, but the couple is independent of moment of center. But the resultant moment is not zero. We can calculate the moment F into D and F into D on this side, and couple is independent of moment center, that we have earlier proved in the previous slide, that in anywhere I can take the moment, and this moment will value will remain the same. The moment of couple will always remain the same. F in C is equal to one single force into the distance between the two forces. Now you can see the two forces applied over here is 60, and the distance between the two will be is 3 centimeter. I am going to calculate the moment of couple both ways. The first is that F into O plus F OB. So if this is the O is the axis of rotation, this, now this much distance is half of 3 meters, that is 1.5. So 60 into 1.5, and over here again 60 into 1.5, that is equal to 90 plus 90 is equal to 180 Newton. And I'm going to apply the formula C is equal to F into D, only one of the force, and the total distance between the two forces, that C is equal to 60 into 3, again it is 180 Newton. So the couple is independent of moment of center. It is only simply one force and the distance between the two forces. Now, application, you can see a torque or moment of 12 is required to rotate the wheel. Which one of the two grips? Now, these are the uh, two grips of the wheel above will require less force to rotate the wheel. So the required torque in both the cases is 12 Newton, but which one will required less force? So we are going to just the calculate them. We see C is equal to F into D. We can see that there is a couple is acting on it in order to rotate this in clockwise direction. Uh, there is this force is applied in this direction, and this force is applied in this direction, and this is the distance between them. So one force in 12 is equal to F into 0.4 is the total distance between them. So you can see it means for opening, for turning this wheel, we need 30 Newton of force. And in this case, you can see that the perpendicular distance between them is 0.3. So by calculation, we found that F is equal to 40 newtons over there. So the longer is the distance between these two, it is we have to apply less force. Okay, thank you. So we are going to meet in another lecture next time, inshallah. Allah.